special meeting of September 22nd, 2001 to order. Welcome everybody to the Waste Management District Board meeting. First order of business will be approval of the minutes of the August 25th meeting. Has everybody had a chance to read and review the minutes? And are there any suggested changes, additions, deletions?
Chairman Schindler, if I could.
Yeah.
I did make a amendment to the original minutes that was sent out, and I sent the new minutes in the email packet today. What I was doing on that was fixing the motion under action items. I did not put what the motion was. So the last sentence of action items, the sentence should read, a motion was made to make application for the grant by Carl Brazeley, and seconded by Deetra Shipley. Motion carried unanimously.
Okay, I think we would need a motion to change that, or no, we wouldn't, would we? We'll just approve the minutes.
Yes, as written, as amended.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion from Mary Rose to approve. Do we have a second? I'll second. We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. You want to call a roll, Pete?
I think we're okay as long as we don't get a nay. We do need for Bob Lee to be visual, though.
There you go.
There you are.
Here I am.
So we don't have an imposter amongst us. Yeah, I mean, we can do a roll call vote if you want to, Bob, but I think as long as we don't have any nays, we're good.
We have a motion and a second to approve the meetings. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All of those opposed? Hearing none, no opposition. The minutes for August 25th are passed. Next item is budget report.
Okay, if everybody can see my screen. What we have is the next budget, 9/22, received it today. We see we have now a rollover amount of $1,020,664. Last meeting we did not have a number there. We was waiting for it. We did get this number. However, it's 99% sure that this is the number, but there's one more check and balance that has to take place. There's 3 before they confirm the number. So I think it's not going to change, but I've left it in red. And on the left of the slide, you'll see FY21 budget has still not been fully closed, but we have an estimated number in red for the rollover. Last year's rollover amount was $1,271,187. So as you can see, we've dropped a little bit as expected. This year, so far to date, we're running well ahead in our revenue level. Recycling receipts is already at 50%, and we're only a few months in. So I anticipate that to continue to rise as the markets have definitely been in the positive side right now. For license fees and citations, this is our licensing time. So I would be expecting to run well ahead of schedule. So we're at 28% and 29% overall for revenue. Personnel services, we're running about right. Contractual services, yes, still the same. So in all, our total expenditures is sitting at 13%, which I think is actually a little bit less than what we anticipate. but I'm sure it'll start to catch up at a certain point. So overall, our budget is pretty good, and we do have several items that need to be approved. One is an amount for $12,400 to municipal media, and this is our Recycle Coach app that we have that's in existence. We use it for the events. We use it for our calendar. We use it for what goes where. We promote this thing everywhere. And we've used it now for probably 3 to 4 years now, I would think. The cost of it did go up slightly, and I think this has to do with the number of SMS messages that are sent out that are over a certain message length. We would ask for approval to continue to use that Recycle Coach app.
You need a motion.
Yeah, can we do that on an individual basis? Karen, did you have anything to add on that?
No, I think you covered it. I'm happy to answer questions though, if anyone has any.
Is that a yearly subscription figure?
Yes.
Any other questions or comments?
I know I found it very helpful, and I'm sure a lot of people have as well. So I would make a motion that we would approve the $12,400 for the Municipal Media Recycle Coach Program.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Deborah and a second by Mary Rose. Is there any other additional comments or questions? Okay, hearing none. Pete, you want to do a roll call?
Deborah Thompson,
Yes?
Mary Rose Evans,
Yes.
Robert Lee,
Yes.
and Robert Schindler.
Yes.
I believe we have anybody else here.
Okay, moving on.
Okay, the next 4 items are for the front load truck, and we've had a little bit of a issue with the way that it was financed. When we came to the board originally, we were set to pay this annually. It's kind of like the purchasing plan. And once we had agreed to that, when it was signed, they changed it to a monthly fee. It got confused, and we went back and forth with it. And in that meantime, we've got 4 payments, June through September, to make this $5,022 payment for each month that we have to approve. So I don't know if we can do this. I think that we can. If we can make one motion to approve these expenses and future, well, I don't think it's a good idea to do future expenses, but if we can get a motion to just approve these 4 $5,022 expenses for the front load truck, June through September, we can get the approval done throughout, unless you guys have some questions on it.
Well, my only question is that if we've already approved an annual payment, can't we just make the annual payment in these smaller payments? And have we already approved an annual payment for this for like 60,000 or something?
I think we approved what we approved was for us to go ahead and approve the contract
Okay.
to do it. The payments are a little bit different. So even if it comes out, I think that we would still want to make sure that you guys are approving the payment for the original contract.
So right now you want a motion to approve $20,088 for the 4 monthly payments I'll make that motion.
Yes.
I would second.
Motion Mary Rose, second Deborah. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I was just have a comment. If there was confusion or possibly a change in the agreement, is there any reason to maybe split the payments where we pay, to this month and the August and September invoices next month, and as far as cash flow goes, or does it matter?
I think that we're good on the cash flow part, and the fact of the matter is that we're late in these payments. I think it's prudent that we catch them up. And we should be good going forward. We don't have a cash flow issue, but I agree that if we did, that would be something that we would definitely want to negotiate with the company to be able to do. I think we're okay as it stands, though.
Is the truck in operation at the recycling centers yet?
We have received the truck, and we had some issues with it. The air conditioner doesn't work, so it's back in the shop. Drove it off the lot, and the engine light came on, so it went back to the shop. Typical things that happen with a new truck until you get it up to speed. It has been stickered, and it does have the Waste Management District logo on there. Am I right, Karen? I've not seen this truck, so to me, it's still fictitious.
I got a picture of it before it went back, and it has a great Recycle Coach ad promotion, like wrap on both sides and the back. And it has the seal and Waste Management District little logo on the doors.
What I would also add is that we have been able to do training. I think that we're close. We have to have 40 hours of training. And then we're doing kind of like a train the trainer. And then we have a little bit more equipment after we accepted the vehicle that we need to purchase for safety issues. A harness and stuff in case one of the dumpsters falls into the hopper, which is not a common scenario, but it is possible. So it's one of the things our safety team wants us to have before we start utilizing it. So no, I guess the short answer, Bob, is it's not out in the community yet, but we want it to get there as soon as we can. We just need some training. We need to start placing these things, and we need to prepare the community for the different looking dumpsters that we're going to be utilizing. So it'll be a little bit of a process for us to get it going, but we're anxious to do that.
Okay, are there any other questions?
Just a quick question. Is it diesel or CNG, Pete?
It is diesel. It is diesel.
Any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll, Pete.
Deborah Thompson,
Yes.
Mary Rose Evans,
Yes.
Robert Lee,
Yes.
and Bob Schindler.
Yes.
No other members present.
Anything else you need to add on the budget report?
No, sir. I did include the detailed versions in your packets this afternoon in case you guys want to take a look at those.
Yeah, it's anybody have any questions on what you received in your packet? Okay, hearing nothing, we'll move on. We have no action items this evening. You have one item of old business, cash for trash. Peter,
Right.
Karen, or whoever's doing this, you want to go?
We have, in our last meeting, we discussed this Cash for Trash program. And it was a guideline from the state that we can pay groups $100 per mile to clean the roadways. We thought it was an excellent way to get people out there and cleaning. And I think Carl had brought up that he was in contact with groups such as University of Louisville, looking for opportunities to make some money, and we kind of felt like it was a good thing to marry up. I do have Rob Lush here, who is the Clean Collab coordinator, in case you guys weren't already aware of that. And I'll let Rob take it from here and what we found out through Brightside.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so we had a meeting with Brightside, and they're excited to take this on, this Cash for Trash program. You know, we think that it's gonna be a great program for them. We're meeting with Carl and the director of Brightside, David Bell. Meeting with him, I believe, next Friday, Pete. Is that correct?
I believe that's right.
And just getting it lined out on, you know, the groups that Carl may have in mind, and you know, what type of paperwork we're going to need to track this and everything. So, but that's it on that right now.
Is there any kind of limit to the number of organizations that can participate?
No, there's no limit that we've seen. So, and it could be for person, you know, people cleaning. It could be, you know, the nonprofit could send out one person or 15 people, you know, but it's $100 per mile.
And I guess really what I was asking is there any limitation on the number of groups that can participate?
No.
We take anybody we can get, right?
Yeah, as long as they're a nonprofit, we can take them on.
Right.
Yeah, I think we're also taking a look at Rob, if you already said this, I apologize. Looking at the paperwork to make sure that we're getting everything that we need as far as a nonprofit status, so that we can make sure that we're in compliance with the grant. We really don't want any problems with or questions about what we're doing.
And how will this be audited the same way the rest of the litter funds by state government?
Yeah, it would fall in with everything the same.
And typically the state, the grant administrator here or at the state, they're not necessarily going to do a deep audit on it. They have basically said that it would be up to the state public auditor to do any kind of audit on us if that comes along. We're always prepared for if they come along.
Yeah.
Taking questions from.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, two questions. Is this program already in effect? I mean, have we started it yet?
No, we haven't started it. This came up, what, Pete, a month and a half or so ago.
Okay.
Yeah, if that long.
So we just met with Brightside because they'll be the ones, they have that volunteer base, you know, that volunteer backing. You know, they have all those connections. So we want to make sure that is something they could take on. And we, like Pete said, we just want to make sure that we have everything lined up for when it does start paperwork wise. But no, we haven't gotten it up and running just yet.
So if a neighborhood association has a neighborhood cleanup and they do their residential streets in their neighborhood, they could get involved in this through Brightside and get $100 for the neighborhood association. Am I getting this correctly?
It could. I'm not sure what a homeowners association or neighborhood, would they fall under a nonprofit?
What I'm thinking of is the St. Joseph's Area Association, but like Schnitzelburg has an association and Old Louisville does, you know, almost every neighborhood has some kind of association.
Yeah, Peter does as well.
If they have a nonprofit status,
Okay, yeah, we do, yeah.
a documented nonprofit status, I think that that is definitely possible.
So if we have a 501c3, basically.
I believe that that would pass, yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Rob. Pete,
Yeah, thank you.
new business.
The next item is one that I just wanted to call your attention to because I think that there's a relation between what's going on here and at least two of the recommendations that we're looking at. What this is LEED for cities and communities. And everybody knows that there's LEED certified buildings and scores and stuff like that that you can get, whether that's, by energy conservation, waste services, or green roofs, or however, and even demolition to get LEED certification. But there is a new certification, it's new, I guess, in the past few years, that allows cities to get a certification. And there's some benefits to that because there's a lot of major corporations that have, I guess, business sustainability goals, and they want to be associated with those types of things and where they may locate their companies and things like that. Plus, I think it's good programming for any city to do some of these things in regards to sustainability. Louisville Metro was invited last year in 2020, and I have been working with the Office of Sustainability on certain parts of it. So I just wanted to kind of bring you guys up to speed on this. And this is the certification. Obviously we would love to get to platinum. Platinum would be a pretty tall order because there's a lot that goes into that. But if we got any of them, I think it's a feather in our hat. But we would certainly love to have a silver or gold. So we're still working towards that. We're not in. Sumita, can you do you want to speak to this at all, or?
Sure, Pete.
If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Sumedha Rao, and I also work with Louisville Metro Government. I started just about a month ago. I think there's a couple of you that I might have met on other calls before, but I work with Advanced Planning and Sustainability on our sustainability team. So currently I'm leading up our LEED for Cities application. Where we are in the process is that we already submitted the initial review and we got some comments on certain things that were lacking in the application that they want us to resubmit, and then we're going to do the final application. So it's looking like we will definitely make certified, hopefully make silver at this point. So fingers crossed on that. But one of the things, they have a few basic requirements that every project has to meet in order to be LEED certified. And then in addition to that, you can get credits that will give you more points to reach the next level. So one of the prerequisites that's mandatory for all projects is construction waste management. So typically for buildings, they have thresholds that you have to reach, like 50% of construction waste diverted, etc. But for cities, because they understand that it's more complex and this program is more new for cities, they don't have a lot of data yet on how easy it is for cities to achieve. So they're requiring us to just come up with a plan to start benchmarking and tracking this data to begin with. And then set some kind of threshold. They recommend 35%, so they'd like us to aim for that and then try to improve from there on. So that's something that Pete and I started to talk about recently to see what avenues there were for our city to get all the departments together that are involved in construction and demolition projects, and to see what vendors we have in the area, how we can come up with a really streamlined, easy process that would enable us to integrate this as a requirement for all projects going forward.
Where it's on the thing on the screen, it says demolition waste from all infrastructure works. Is that just public infrastructure, or would diversion from business and commercial and industrial demolition, would that also count?
So this is everything just undertaken by local government. So this is buildings, roads, bridges, other facilities, but it does not include anything the private sector is doing outside of the government. So that is something that they want us to eventually try to scale community-wide in the future, but right now it's just local government specific.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that brings me to the relationship of this and the study recommendations. And if you guys remember, we've been working on this on construction and demolition, several of these, one being a C&D debris processing ordinance that's been in discussion, and a reuse of material in road construction and these types of facilities that can put asphalt shingles in the roads and stuff like that. So there's another one there that's kind of grayed out. That's the waste reduction and reuse campaign, which doesn't really coincide with this. But the reason that I bring this to you is number one, you guys, the board is the waste authority in Jefferson County. So I think you need to be aware of this. And number two, you know, with the things that are going on, I think in the discussions that we've had in our subcommittee about government kind of getting into these things and using shingles and recycled concrete, and that to kind of help jumpstart any type of usage of these materials and recycling of these materials, I think this fits really nice with it. And when we go to certify, make a certification letter to the for this project, some of the things that we would be looking at is like a required pre-certification of C&D contractors for metro infrastructure projects, potentially updating all the contracts to include waste tracking and diversion requirements, establishing a diversion threshold. I'm not sure if that would be 35%, but we know 35% is our minimum. And we want to be able to make this something that can be scaled into the rest of the community. And the last thing I have on there is Retract Connect, which we understand is a, you guys pay for that. It's part of how people in the community report to us, licensees, for our diversion statistics. We tend to want, I think that before I go offering it up, I just want to make you guys aware that we may, I may offer up that all of these different agencies can make their reports through a Retract Connect, and it would make it so much easier for everyone, and it would tally things up so much faster. Retract Connect is a great tool, and it's really simple to use, and it's, you know, we're grateful that we have it. But I just kind of wanted to bring that to your attention and let you know that we may be using the Retract Connect, which is part of the Waste District that funds that for this project. And we can answer any questions that you have. Again, we haven't made a final submission, and there's been a lot of work done on the waste side, and we're pretty good on that, except for this little area here. Is there any questions?
I have a comment. I am so excited about this. I can't believe this is excellent. Thank you to you and the sustainability people and all of them. That this is really good.
The sustainability group over there has been working on this for quite some time. They deserve a lot of credit for it. A lot of thanks.
I'll just add one thing, which is that Pete was giving me some very helpful background the other day about how we used to have higher diversion rates in Louisville before. And I used to work in the green building industry before a few years ago. And we did a lot of LEED projects, and nationwide, you know, different size cities, it was really common to see projects easily achieve over 80% diversion. And I think that one of the things here that has been driving that down is just the really low landfill rates that are very, very competitive, and it's kind of driving those construction recycling businesses out. So this could also be a good economic development opportunity if we were able to bring that requirement in to hopefully bring some of those businesses back in the area.
Oh, very good. That's exciting. Be looking forward to what we can do with it, or what you guys can do with it. Any other questions, comments from the board? Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation. Next item, advisory committee report.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Bob. The advisory
Bruce?
did not meet last month. We were, I guess, a little short on business items to attend to. We were still focusing on the subcommittee's work, and we made great progress, I believe, with the subcommittees over the last month, and to the point where we're focusing on, obviously, construction, demolition, debris, recycling, ICI self-haul, and we're at a point, and I believe Sandra and Greg are on here, and I'll let them give a brief overview of their subcommittees. But the one thing I did want to offer, Pete had made a comment about our newly constructed transfer station in Scott County to me earlier this week or late last week, and we were going to set up a visit to where we can all tour that facility. It's just north of Lexington, and it may help us in dealing with how we handle traffic flow and whatnot with the ICI self-haul, particularly as a self-haul initiative that we're looking at. And on the construction demolition debris side, there was great conversation with regard to drywall recycling, as well as separation, source separation, and varying separations at the disposal facilities, to where we're going to start involving stakeholders in our next two meetings. So with that, we can take any questions, or I can turn it over to Sandra and Greg to get maybe a more in-depth review of their subcommittees.
Yeah, whatever you prefer. Does anybody have any questions of Bruce before he turns it over to the other people?
I will say that we will inform you of the date that we do set for the tour at Scott County. I'm going to be out of town for the next 2 weeks, and it'll be when I return to town, and we can go over there and look at that facility. Sandra, do you want to give an update or an overview of what your subcommittee's been working on?
Yes. Basically, you know that we toured the asphalt laboratory, and we have come back from that, and Pete has done a very good job of keeping you up to date with the products that possibly can be recycled and incorporated into asphalt in the future. The issue being that the primary users of the asphalt have to accept the inclusion. We're also looking at other issues which have been listed on several of your documents, like drywall, to see if we can encourage the use of drywall and recycling. And part of the issue is that we're trying to take a look at end users, at the economics involved in recycling different things. And we've done a lot of work. We've got a lot of work left to do, but it's progressing nicely.
Thank you, Sandra. Greg, do you want to give an overview of what your subcommittee's been working on?
Sure. In a way, I, I don't really have a summary, so to speak. We don't have anything to report out, but like, I think Bruce, you did a very good summary yourself. So I'm just going to emphasize that you did a good thing with that. And we're meeting and continuing to meet with our haulers and people, and the staff's doing a lot of good work looking back and forth. So it's sort of like a work in progress, I think, right now. And hopefully we'll have some good things to report soon.
I believe on the ICI self-haul, over the next two advisory committees, we're going to invite two of our disposal facilities in to address the ICI self-haul or the self-haul initiative that we're pursuing. And so that we'll have the stakeholder involvement in the next two advisory committee meetings. So I would welcome all of your, I guess, maybe join in those meetings so that you can, get a good, feel for a private sector has to accommodate the requests that are being made.
Yeah, I agree. And Pete, I don't know if you've got an update on who's going to come when and where, but I thought we're kind of waiting to hear.
I do not at this point. We're lucky in that all of these stakeholders really kind of participate in these meetings to a certain degree anyway. I think we're just looking for a little bit more. We sent them a questionnaire, and the questionnaire was beneficial, but I think that having them come in person and talk with us would be a benefit. Just one reminder to individuals, when we talk about self-haul and construction and demolition, we've got two different groups of recommendations, and they're very easy to get confused. I get confused about them all the time. But when we're talking about self-haul, we're talking about what a resident would bring in their car, van, or pickup truck to a disposal facility such as a landfill or a transfer station, and ensuring that those locations have boxes for people to drop off recoverable items, such as clean wood, such as yard waste, such as cardboard, and those things that would typically be going into the landfill portion of the transfer station or landfill. This is just an opportunity for people to recover the material that's in their loads. And the reason that we know that there is material in these loads is because of our pop-up drop-off events that you guys have helped us create. Because I think typically those events, 100% of the material went into the landfill. And right now we're probably getting around 40 to 45% diversion at those events. So we know that there's a lot of opportunity for recovery and helping our drive a little bit of our diversion rate. It's not a huge waste stream, but I think it's an important waste stream because I think that we need to get our citizens thinking about recovery instead of disposal as the first thing. Honestly, it needs to go back to reduce their waste, reuse their waste, and then recycle their waste. But we're just trying to get out of this mindset, oh, it's done, I throw it away. So I think that all of this kind of works in together. So I just wanted to remind people of what we were actually talking about.
And if I may add, Pete, one of the biggest things, Chairman Schindler, is that we want to vet these scenarios so that it be safely done. And we do have two transfer stations that have very limited space to deal with. And that is the reason we chose to possibly go over to the Scott County transfer to look around and see how they're handling it. And because they're actually separating out a single stream and metal, I believe, are the two components at that transfer station. So the vetting process is, going to be a tedious one. It's going to be, every recommendation we bring to you is going to be fully vetted. And I would like it to be a recommendation where it makes sense and we have the stakeholders buy-in where it may not require an ordinance. It may just make better business sense and to follow the recommendation. So that's the goal, as we see it.
Pete, if I might, when these stakeholders come to make these presentations at the meeting, you'll notify us of the date and times of the meetings.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
thanks.
I think Karen,
Any other?
Karen, you can make sure that that happens, correct?
Yes, I will.
Any other questions of Bruce or Greg or Sandra? Okay, thank you all, Bruce, Greg, and Sandra. Thank you very much. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Bob.
Yep.
Next item on the agenda is we would staff report update on recycling carts.
Yeah, Karen, you want to go or you want me to take this one too?
Do you have content to share? Oh,
Well, I'll put it together so I can go
Yeah,
ahead.
you
and
go ahead.
It'll be a combination of both of us, I'm sure. So the initial deployment and the second cleanup deployment is complete. We've gotten a lot done. The contractor has came back and delivered an extra approximately 2,700 more carts, and they have left town. Now we still have a third list of people that put in requests through a WUFU form that we had created. These are people that could have been missed in the audit. The vendor did not get the cart where it was supposed to go, or the cart disappeared. Many different things that could have happened. So this is kind of like our metro cleanup at this point. There's potential that the contractor can come back and do some of this, but looks like we have about 1,050 remaining to deliver. We are sitting right there at 1,000 or so carts and lids. So we are balancing our inventory and trying to get more as soon as possible. We still, after we get this third wave of carts delivered, we're going to try to do this, look at what's remaining by doing like a windshield survey and seeing if people are still sitting out in bins and going back and looking at our list to see if a cart was delivered. We do believe that there's a certain number of people that are going to continue to use the bins regardless of whether or not they have the cart. You know, we want to identify people that are still in a bin that, you know, so that when January comes, they're going to still have a way to recycle. And then we have been working on condominiums and apartments as we go. As we know, those are space specific, and we need to handle those on a case by case. Businesses have kind of gotten pushed back just a little bit because it's more. This was more residential. The carts were not supposed to go to businesses. It's for residential properties. So we've kind of had to put them back a little bit, but we have been making plans to address some of the issues that we have there with going to an every other week collection system. So we're working on some solutions. Most of that is to deal with cardboard, which these businesses deal with a lot of cardboard. So we're working on that, and hopefully we can get that done. We haven't really done anything on the second round of grant talks after our initial discussions with them. But we still do have a goal to complete full deployments next fiscal year instead of 2, as we had discussed. I don't know if that'll happen, but that's going to be our goal. So, Karen, did I miss anything?
I don't think so.
Does anyone have any questions that I can answer as it relates to these carts?
Could you actually explain what you mean by goal is to complete full deployments next fiscal year instead of 2 years?
The goal is that anybody that still does not have a cart or a bin would be delivered a recycling cart. So we would have full deployment of
Yeah.
every household having a recycling cart. You couple that with a very good education and outreach campaign, and you're going to get more recycling. What I will tell you is that, and it was awesome. A lot of people saw these blue lidded carts out there that they wanted one. They want to start recycling. I've wanted to recycle for a long time. So we've had a lot of requests for carts that we can't fulfill because of the grant contract specified in how we did it. So we're anxious to get that second round because we think that we're going to pick up a lot more recyclers then.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right. Thank you, Pete. Karen? Next item on the agenda is an executive session for the board to discuss some of the litigation that was going on or is currently going on between Waste Management District and Waste Management of Kentucky. Is Peter online?
Actually, he is not. I've tried to make contact with him periodically. Is he here?
Yes, I am here by phone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Pete. Well, since we're on this virtual meetings, can you explain to the board members how we will physically go about having an executive session and then get back into our regular board meeting?
Okay, first, after we get a motion to go into executive session,
All right.
you have already received a link to an executive session meeting that was sent to you after this meeting started. Wanted to do that to keep the confusion down. What you would do is go ahead, close out of this meeting, go into the other meeting, go into your emails, click into that meeting just like you did this one. You conduct the executive session, you close that meeting out, and then you would relog back in on this meeting so that we can either take actions or close it. So
and when you're in executive session, Bob, I think I have to pass along the host responsibilities to you so that I can leave. I think that's how it works. So I might be on there just for a second, just to make sure that it gets started, and then I'll come out. But you have both links on that email I sent, a link to get an executive session and a link to come back to the original meeting.
Hey, Pete.
And as host, do you need to brief me on anything I'm supposed to do, or I don't have to? Hopefully I don't have to do anything.
No, you wouldn't have to do anything.
Once you're done, you just click out of that meeting just like you normally would. But Peter, did you have a question?
Yes. How do I do this by phone? I cannot make a connection with my computer tonight.
Can you access your emails?
No.
I can send
nothing.
I can send a phone number, probably a call in.
Okay.
I'll send that.
Well, I need you to text it to
And
me.
can you text it to him?
Yeah, Pete will have to text it to me.
Hold on.
If anybody can do it, Karen can do it.
Yes. Might have to tell me.
I hate to mention this, but I don't have an email.
How did you get this?
No, he means he didn't get the email from Karen during the meeting.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
have the email from Karen.
Did everyone else?
I
It
do.
would have gone to Bob S3919.
No, I've been having trouble with that one.
Okay, let me, tell me
Which
what
I
else.
haven't been able to get it worked out yet. If you could do it to it's the RJS Claude CLAUDE
I got it.
at AOL.com.
Okay. And
Okay.
So in the meantime, can we go ahead and get a motion to go into executive session?
Do you need this motion to be legally worded, or do you just want a motion to go into executive session?
I think we need to
Mayor Rose,
legally,
yeah, it should be a motion to go into executive session to discuss the proposed settlement agreement of litigation between the district and Waste Management of Kentucky.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Mary Rose, second by Deb.
I'll make a motion that we go back into regular session.
I'll second.
Bob, you're
Bob.
on mute.
Mute.
I'm on now, Ina.
Yeah, sorry, that was me.
Bob Schindler. There we go.
We have a motion by Mary Rose and a second by Deborah that we come back into regular session from the executive session. All those in favor but signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed? The ayes have it, and we are officially back in regular session for the September 22nd meeting. We discussed in this executive session the litigation that the board has had ongoing between the Metro Waste Management District and Waste Management of Kentucky. The issue in front of the board now is to whether or not to accept the settlement agreement that has been reached by the negotiators under the auspices of a federal magistrate. Peter, do you want to just real quick summarize what we would be proposing here, please?
Sure. What the board is considering is the settlement of litigation, as you said, between the Waste District as the plaintiff against the Waste Management of Kentucky. The litigation is in relationship to the collection of the 5% licensing fee for a landfill. It is identified as such in the United States District Court under case number 3:17-CV-0305-CRS, and the proposed agreement for consideration and approval by the board is entitled Settlement Agreement and Release of Claims, to be executed by the parties, the board or the district, and Waste Management of Kentucky. And it has been provided to the board, and I think your motion should be for the acceptance and execution on our end of the agreement.
And we have a motion from somebody to proceed.
I will make that motion.
Have a motion by Mary Rose. Deborah, you're.
All right, I'll second the motion.
Motion by Mary Rose, seconded by Deborah. Is there any additional discussion or questions of Peter from board members? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Flood, would you call the roll?
Deborah Thompson,
Yes,
Mary Rose Evans,
Yes.
Robert Lee,
Yes.
and Bob Schiller.
Yes.
No other members present at the time.
Okay, considering we have a quorum, the motion passes. I guess that can, unless there is any comments or questions from the audience, or any other questions, comments from board members and
The only thing that I would add is that there is a pop-up drop-off event this Saturday out at Sun Valley Ball Field Complex at 10401 Lower River Road. Time is 10 to 2. And it's a great event. If you guys have anything that you want to get recovered or disposed, please come on to the event. Try not to come at the very beginning, as it's usually it's clogged up. A lot of people try to get there early. But if you come at 12 or 1, generally you'll get clean sailing through. It's a great event.
I have a question. I have one of these old TVs that probably weighs 1,000 pounds and it's huge. Do they take those?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, if I can manage to get it in my truck, I'll.
Yeah, they'll help you get it out.
Yeah,
Got to get it in first.
that's the issue.
I highly recommend these events. I've gone to 2 different ones taking stuff over there, and it's really convenient. So much better than going out and getting in the lines and driving through the landfill. It's much more convenient. I encourage anybody to use them. It's a quick way to get rid of something, quick and easy way to get rid of something, but it also gets recycled. That which can be recycled gets recycled, and the other benefit is the document shredding they do at each event. That comes in real handy too.
Yeah, at this event on Saturday, the shredding and electronics and prescription disposal actually will be in the parking lot of Ashby Lane Baptist Church, which is across the street from the exit of that ball field. So if you happen to make it out there, Deborah, you can just put in Ashby Lane Baptist Church and go there.
Lane Baptist Church. Okay. Write that down.
Chairman Schindler, may I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Will the results of the settlement agreement be a matter of public record, or is there a confidentiality agreement between the parties?
Can you address that, Peter?
Yes. Bruce, it can be available via open records request. All you need to do is send an email to Pete and request it in writing.
All right, thank you, Peter.
Yes, sir.
Any other issues, questions, comments? Okay, I guess that concludes the meeting. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
Motion to adjourn made and seconded. Thanks everyone very much. Thanks board members for your attendance. Thanks staff members for your work. And I guess we'll see you all next week.
Right.
Next month. I'm sorry. Next month.
Okay. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
At the bottom.